The Texans travel up to Lambeau Field, where Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, his father, Bobby Slowick Sr., used to be the defense coordinator for the Green Bay Packers in the early 2000s. But a lot of great matchups to watch in this one. My favorite being this Packers offensive line. That's kind of a no-name offensive line. There may not be a lot of people who know the starters for the Green Bay Packers up front. Yet the results this season been about as good as almost any offensive line in the NFL. Probably playing like a top 5 unit right now. They have a top 2 rushing game in the NFL, trail only the Baltimore Ravens in terms of yards per game. Them going against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, though, Kyle, what are you seeing in this matchup? How do you think that one plays out this Sunday?
Well, I think it starts with being at home, and you alluded to that. When you're at Lambeau, you have the luxury of these quarterbacks that have played there historically that have a really smart fan base. With all the pre-snap stuff that happens in the NFL, particularly with a Matt LaFleur offense, you have the luxury of being able to communicate that kind of thing. Also, you talk about the edge rushers, Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, those guys can get home. But to your point, this Packers group has played above their weight class this entire year, and they're starting to garner some respect, some love, some Jordan love. And when Jordan Love is protected and you have it built into the scheme, we talked about it this morning on the podcast, the Packers have no problem throwing a tight end in there in protection to Chip. You see it with the running back out of the backfield as well. They build it in and couple it with their screen game extremely well, as good as anyone in the National Football League. And you've seen this Packers offense start to take shape. So you get these offensive tackles some help against these all-star edge rushers, and now you're looking at a more realistic pocket with some time and to do what Jordan Love wants to do, and that's deliver strikes down the football field, finding Christian Watson somewhere in a void.
For me, it's all about the quarterback matchup, man. These two players, C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love, they're really, really good in throwing the football. I mean, watching them throw the football is like a quarterback's teaching tape. This is how you should look when you're throwing the football when it comes to the accuracy, just the pocket presence, and just the big play ability that they both have. And I think both players are going to play extremely well. When you look at the numbers, I mean, these two guys have really been living up to the billing, to say the least. You know, we talked about C.J. Stroud, but quiet as kept. Look at what Jordan Love has done, especially if you look at the second half of the season a year ago that led to a playoff win for him being year one in his starting campaign. And now with him being finally healthy, that's the thing that I love what I watched last week against the Arizona Cardinals. It looks like he's finally healthy from that week 1 injury he sustained against the Philadelphia Eagles. So which quarterback is going to make plays and which quarterback is going to protect the football the most? I think that is going to play a big catalyst in deciding which side wins this ball game. And I said this earlier on in Kyle in the show. I was talking to Mike about this. You know, I'm a defender, so I'm biased. I don't like seeing a lot of points. But for this matchup, I'll throw my bias to the side. I'm okay in seeing points after points after points because I really love watching both of these quarterbacks play.
Hey, but Mike, hold on a second. This Packers team, I think they lead the NFL in turnovers. I think they've got 17. That's going to be a big part. To your point, they are going to be throwing the football all over B-Mac, but you know this Packers unit loves to take it away. So keep your eyes on that back end. Xavier McKinney has been unbelievable thus far.
No question.
Stroud's been one of the stingiest quarterbacks to start his career in NFL history in terms of not giving the ball to the other teams.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, 17 takeaways already for this Green Bay Packers defense. An insane, almost 3 a game they're averaging. And it's not just the picks. They're forcing some fumbles too. They forced 3 last week against the Arizona Cardinals. So that's where as a Packers fan, as you mentioned, I'm really watching is this defense because they've done some unique things in recent weeks to try to shore up this secondary. They now have 3 rookie starters in their back 7, whether it's Edgerrin Cooper, who's been getting a lot more run at linebacker, whether it's Javon Bullard, who started the year at safety. They now are playing him in the slot. They kicked Keyshawn Nixon, who was their slot cornerback, out to wide, and they made room for Evan Williams on the back end, a rookie 4th rounder who's been playing outstanding next to Xavier McKinney at safety. So that new look defense shut down the Rams, shut down the Cardinals. But what can it do against this Texans team? Because the Texans are a much, much different animal than any of those other teams.